Hi guys, this is Mike again from Mixpix Visuals, and I am here today to talk about particle systems in Unity, and we're gonna set up a basic fire consisting of 3 different systems, and we're gonna talk about the components that make up a particle system in Unity. The setup will be consisting of a fire system, fire like flames, actually flames. And then there will be some embers and sparks, and then there will be a system for smoke. So I thought we'd start from scratch, basically. So this is just a quick mesh I threw together to just have something to ground it in reality or whatever. And yeah, so what is a particle system? Yeah, I can explain that. Yeah, particle system is like it's a game object basically that emits tiny billboard textures facing the camera, and it's used for effects and stuff. Like it could be used for rain, I suppose, snow, fire, lasers, glowing on UI buttons, fireworks. Alright, so let's start off by creating a particle system. We'll right-click this one to make the particle system a child of these logs or whatever, sticks. And right away you can see it starts to emit particles. Actually, let's start with just changing the texture that we are emitting. What I've done is, in this scene, I have imported the package for particle systems. That is bundled with Unity, which gives you a couple of preset materials and textures to use for fire. And if you want to import it into your project, you hit the assets menu and then import package, and then you take particle systems, and that will import that into your project. So let's start off with changing this default particle. I scroll down to the render portion. It might be closed, and then you open it up if you click on it. And I want to change this default particle to something more resembling of fire. I don't know if... No, you can't see that window, but anyway, I choose the one called the particle fire cloud. It looks like that. Now that we've got that, actually I have a list of stuff I prepared. For once, I've actually prepared, so I've got some stuff written down this time. Yeah. All right. So what we want to do is we need to look into these parameters. The duration is how long does this is this portion of emission really? And then if you have the looping check mark on, it will do that, and then it will. If we stop this simulation right now. Simulate, and this will go on for 5 seconds, and then it stops. If we would have had a loop checked, it will go on for 5 seconds and then restart on that loop. Pre-warm, if we hit the pre-warm, if we don't hit the pre-warm, you will see that it starts emitting like there was nothing there from the start. But if you hit the pre-warm, it will already have done a round when you start the scene. So it's already there. Let's not use that for this one. Starting delay is if you want to, when you activate your system, when the system is activated, if you want it to be a delay before it starts. Simple as that. And it's in seconds. Lifetime is how long you want these particles to last, basically. If I pull this down to 1. Oh, it's so close. Yeah, they live for 1 second. It's how long they live, yeah. Each particle lifetime. Simple as that. Next one is the speed, which is obviously how fast they travel. We set this to 0, or you can set it to negative values as well if you want that. Yeah, it's a speed. It's really simple as that. And then size is how big you want the particle to be. The 3D start rotation, to be honest, I haven't... This is a new feature in 5.3, so I'm not going to go over that. So let's not do that. Start rotation though is fun. Usually with a lot of particles, it's just you can't really see if there's rotation in it because it's the same no matter how you turn it. But in this case, when it's a little more complex texture, you can actually see it. If we turn down the speed on this, and let's look a little closer, and then if we turn the start rotation, I think maybe you can see that the little clouds are actually rotating. Actually, I'm sorry, that's not even correct. Start rotation is what start rotation value they will have from the start. Starting color. This will be what color you will tint the sprite of the particle in. So yeah, you see this is orange, but that is because the texture itself is orange, and then you can tint it. Like now we're giving it the original value, and then black is since it's an additive shader, it'll be completely invisible if it's black, and then you can turn it red and whatever color you would like. For now, let's keep it white. I'm gonna tweak these to actually be fire later. If you want to skip to the fire part, I guess you could do that. But now I'm gonna just explain the particle systems. Yeah. All right. Then we have the gravity modifier, and I like this one because you can have a basic speed, but then you can also make it be affected by gravity. So if you have a negative value, it will fly up and float away, and if you have a positive value, it will plummet towards the ground. So if we put the start speed to something like this, and then we will modify the gravity, you will get kind of a fountain cascading effect or whatever. So that's a gravity modifier. Then we have the simulation space, and this is actually useful to know. This is if we use simulation space local, it will if I move this particle system around, all movement will be relative to the object itself. But if I change it to world, if I move it, it's more of a realistic setting and often to be preferred, I suppose. Can be cool effects, like if you want to make trails or whatever from objects that are moving, I'd suggest you use the world simulation space. Yeah, and play on wake is if you wanted to play automatically when it starts. I guess you could uncheck that if you don't want that, if you want something else to trigger the start of the system even though it's activated. Max particles is how many particles you allow the system to have at any one time. So if I have just one, we'll just allow one to be active until it dies, and then it will produce another one. Let's go to the next section, which is emission. And emission sets how many particles you want to spawn per time, I guess per second. And one thing I noticed a little later into my use of Unity was this little bugger here, which is you can actually set this to 0, and then you can set at time 0 there will be 30. So this is another way to do pulses. Like if there's maybe there's an explosion, you don't want it to all the time emit all these particles. You just want it to be one blast in the beginning, and then nothing more. And in that case, this will be good to use. Let's put that back to up to 30. All right, and then we have the shape. This is the shape that we wanted to emit from. So now we have a cone. You can think of this as a scale 1 to 53, which is pretty accurate. It's usually not. My bad. I'm sorry. First, you choose the shape you wanted to emit from. Like if you wanted to come out from a sphere, or you wanted to come out from a box, or you wanted to come out from a circle or an edge, or you can also do it with you can do it from meshes, and you can do it from all kinds of stuff. And for this, we're using a cone. And then we have two parameters, which is radius, and that is how tight the shape is, basically the size of the cylinder, and then the angle. So if you wanted to just spray upwards, you can do that, or if you wanted to move more like of a spread angle, you switch that up. And random direction is a nice one. it's not really that obvious. And if we have the box, for example, it'll just go up from one direction of that box, and if you choose random, it'll go in every direction. So that's a nice little ticker. There's a lot of stuff you can tweak. A rotation over lifetime will do what I thought the start rotation does, which is it will actually rotate these guys during their lifetime. You can change by how much you want them to rotate. Now they're spinning like crazy, and now they're not. There's two of them that I have found extremely useful. And we're gonna actually switch from the fire cloud for now. Let's do with the default particle. So if we use the color over lifetime, oh yes, there's this, and this changes how the color is affected during the lifetime. So if we start at white and we end at red, it will fade from white to red. And if we put maybe a little green in there, it will go from white to green to red. Yeah. The bottom controls color, and the top controls opacity. So now we go from full alpha, which is totally opaque, to full alpha, which is totally opaque. If we do this, it'll fade from full to transparent, which is also represented here. And if we pull this down to 0 here as well, there will never be any opacity. And then we put another marker here, and we have that effect. And then we put another marker there, and it's that effect. And then we put another marker there, and it's suddenly it's kind of blinking, which is fun. This looks like a fun little fire, doesn't it? It's beautiful. I can feel the warmth, really. And then there's the size over lifetime. This is the last section we'll go over. Before we start the fire, we'll start the fire, so don't worry. The fire rises, as my main man Bane would have said. Alright, so the size over lifetime is if we want to modify the size during it's really good names on these. Yeah, size over lifetime. So we can choose from a different selection of preset curves, and this will affect how big it is when it starts in comparison to when it ends. So if we take this one, which is the default, it will be the same size the whole time. If we do this one, it will start as tinies, and then will end bigger, and the opposite of it. And then there's just like different version of it with non-linear kind of curves. And if you're thinking, what, it can't be bigger than that? Well, yeah, it can, but this is in relation to the start size that we set. So if we pump up the start size, it'll... Oh, this looks toxic. I kind of love this, actually. But yeah, no, these are the usual ones that I tinker with when I'm making my particle system. So that about particle systems in general. Now let's start a fire. So let's delete this one. We gone a little crazy on that one. Particle system, yeah. So for the fire that we're gonna make, we're gonna start off with the actual flames. So we will take the fire cloud back. That default texture which was down at the renderer tab, and then we'll tweak these guys. We want it to be looping because the fire doesn't stop. We don't want to pre-warm it because I want to like watch it start. It's pretty. No delay needed. Lifetime, we want it to be 3.5, and we want the speed to be 0.25. And that doesn't look that fast. No, it does not. But we will modify it with the gravity modifier, which we will set at minus 0.1. So it will actually accelerate more than just have a constant speed up. And then we will set the size of it, and we will pump this up to 1.5. And then we will start rotation. Maybe we should have some rotation on this. But as I said, the rotation is just the initial. We should modify the rotation over lifetime instead. So it kind of dances around. I like that. Yeah, that's beautiful. We should have the emission rate of 30, so that it'll be a little more dense. We want to change the main, because I want this might be like a realistic fire, but I want it to be slightly stylized, so I want it to be a hint of orange. And you're like, what is this? This looks like shit. Yeah, I know. Don't worry about it. Because now we're going to set the color over lifetime. So we're going to cut that alpha off. We want to... Oh, that's so much better, right? Beautiful. And what I have often noticed, a really quick fix for stuff. Now it doesn't look that bad actually, but just changing the beginning of the alpha to be 0 makes it, instead of like particles popping in like this when it's their turn, it kind of fades in. It's beautiful. Yeah, that actually looks kind of good with the fading, but now we also want to change the size over lifetime. And we will set it to be big at the beginning and then change slightly down. We might put it there. That's nice. It's kind of cool. I don't really like that you can see the round guys, like the round shapes. I want it to be more of a mass. So I'm gonna change the fading as well to be maybe right there. That's better. I like that. It's cool. Maybe also we change the alpha so it's not that intense. How about there? So yeah, that's really basically the first system, which is the flames. And that looks okay. As I said, it's not perfect. It's not like, oh, I read in a book that this is how you make fire. This is how I make fire. And after that we will make the embers. We will create a particle system. And for this one, I still don't want to use the default particle because it sucks. We want to use my absolute favorite all time, which is the afterburner. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. And we're going to tweak these values once more. For this one, I want it to be definitely smaller because it's just tiny details. And I want them to last a little longer so they you can see them above the fire as well. So I'm going to push this up to 6.1, about 6.1, and we're gonna change the speed down to tiny 0.4. We're gonna change the size, the size to also 0.1, and the star rotation is not relevant because it's a round texture, so you can't see if it rotates anyway. We're gonna change the gravity modifier to be negative 0.04, so that's not a lot, but it still looks a lot, right? Actually, we might want to change that a little smaller. I really want it to be slow. That's too slow. Yeah, let's go with that, and then we'll push up the lifetime a little. So we want the rate not to be this high. There should be only sparse numbers, something like that. And let's go into the shape of this. You might want to put it a little wider for them to dance around the fire and not be just in the center, like you want it to fly off or something like that. And I know what you're asking yourself, why are they white? Yeah, I know. Actually, let's push that up a little more. So we have sparks in the sky. That's beautiful. Color of a lifetime, our dear friend. So let's make them kind of flicker like this. So let's put a lot of points out. So now the opacity is it's kind of more of a blinking effect. And we don't want it to be white and then end up being white. We want it to start at a hot, fiery, orange, yellow thingamajiggy, and then start going towards maybe a red. Like it's glowing but burning out or whatever, so something like that. And then let's copy that one. And then in the end, we want it to be kind of dark gray. Something like that. Oh, that's nice. I like that. So now what is left is the smoke. So we're going to copy the original fire system because there is a lot of similarities to it. Let's name these. It's always good to name stuff. So we'll name this flames. We'll name these embers. And we will name this smoke. So the smoke will be, I want it to be maybe more of a booming thing, like the smoke particles, they mix with the air and they thin out. So I want it to grow a little bigger during their lifetime, and also more transparent anyway. So let's do that. Let's first change the renderer, the texture from the fire cloud to, I'm gonna change the one, you're not gonna see it, but I'm gonna change it to the smoke. So this will not be white. I want this to be somewhere in the gray area, actually. Ooh, I like it. And then let's pop up the lifetime more, because this should last longer, and the speed should not be that high. I have written down that I want the speed to be 0.14, so let's put it somewhere there. The gravity modifier will not be as heavy either, because it doesn't really have a, yeah, it'll look better. And then start size will be a lot higher, because to be Genesis frick. So let's do that, and we want the size over lifetime to be not be smaller, but actually the opposite. So we'll just flip this, really. We'll start at 0.6, something like that, and end at 1. Interesting, no fun fact or whatever, you can pop in extra points in this curve as well if you wanted to have more than just from A to B, like if you want A to B to C. But we don't want that right now. If you want that, you just double click the curve and it'll pop up. Yeah, so, and then we should change the cone angle, I think, as well, to be a little wider like that. And yeah, now you can't even see the fire. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna modify the color over lifetime, primarily to change the alpha of it. So let's not like have opacity until much later. Like it starts there, but it's not really apparent until, I don't know, here. Still really, really bright. Let's change the alpha of the main color. Be somewhere, yeah, a little higher than that. But we will also change the color of it. So if we start at, I'm thinking maybe in the beginning the fire is illuminated by the smoke is illuminated by the fire. So let's give it a reddish orange tint, like that, and then it will start fading to grayish, and then you can keep that gray. What's the problem now is that it's a lot of particles, and it's additive, so it looks so bright. I don't really like that. Maybe if we pop down the alpha some more. Yeah, let's do that. That's a really subtle smoke. It's cool. And yeah, that's really all there is to it, I suppose. There's a lot of stuff you can do. If I would have done this more advanced, I'd maybe pop in a second layer of the base flames to make it a little more organic and random, I suppose. Maybe I would have added a. What we could do actually is we could add a lamp. We can use a point light in the middle of it. Tint this to be somewhere around there. Pop up the range, and there is now it's affecting things around it. The whole lighting thing is a completely different chapter that we could go into another time if you like. But for now, I think that's it. We hit play. We will watch it rise. Yes. Okay, cool. Thanks for watching. If you could think of something that you want me to talk about, please leave a comment in the section below. And if you liked it, you should like it. You should subscribe it. I'm gonna keep posting these, and I'll see you next time.